Glencoe, Kentucky, a community that was named after a valley in Scotland, has a rich heritage. Glencoe, Kentucky has had their fair share of triumph and tragedy. Glencoe, Kentucky used to be a happening place.
Like I said, when I moved here 43 years ago, we had a bank, we had a hardware store, we had a garage, we had a dry goods store, barber shop. Those were in here 43 years ago.
Right.
A schoolhouse over here. All 5 of my children went to school over here up to the 4th grade.
Right. In the last 100 years, Glencoe, Kentucky used to have 3 grocery stores, a hardware store, 2 train depots, a stockyard, which was burnt down to the ground in 1930. That fire nearly doomed the entire town since it was next to Etna gas in the oil tanks. The fire chief on the scene was Warsaw's George Henry. Glencoe used to have their own school where many 40-year-olds remember going until the 4th grade. Glencoe used to have 5 banks, a pharmacy. What do you think? Why did Glencoe go down? A tobacco warehouse, a lumber yard, a doctor's office, a garage, a barber shop, and a Glencoe hotel, which later became Jim Webster's restaurant/grocery, which ended up burning down to the ground in 1955. Warsaw Fire Chief Delmar Alexander and 14 volunteer firemen, including some from Williamstown and Dry Ridge, were at the scene, and they extinguished that fire in 2 hours.
Ballpark and such. And this family that owned it said that it's what it had to be used for at all times. But all of them died off, and the sole heir to it was in a nursing home. And how on this David was able to buy the property. I guess because there was no other heirs left, and this man was in the nursing home.
A hotel?
Well, the city of Glencoe had free use of the ballpark and the thing like that. And Ondas sold it to the city. They had to pay for it then after he bought it. And then when Ondas bought the schoolhouse over here, the first thing he put in it was
Glencoe also has had a fair share of Ku Klux Klan associations. Road Klansmen in parade. In 1874, the Carrollton Democrat said that the principal staple of Glencoe seems to be fighting whiskey. And still today, Glencoe is still trying to fight alcohol. Even though Prohibition died in America in the 1930s, Glencoe is doing its best to keep it alive with dismal success, since you can get all the beer and alcohol that you want in Sparta or Warsaw or Hilltop. For the history of Glencoe, I was referred to Kay Poland, a resident Glencoe historian. Yeah. So who's in the wheelbarrow? Who'd you say?
So that race was Bill Amy Webster. Webster was his last name. Bill Amy Webster.
Yeah.
And J.D. Poland. And it's Bill Amy Webster's in the wheelbarrow, and J.D. had to push him around town over the election loss. J.D. Poland was a Republican and Bill Amy Webster was a Democrat.
In 1905, survivors of the Civil War, the Confederate survivors, had a reunion. Over 1,500 people showed up. Dinner was served to all, and there's plenty for all of them to eat, and everybody was happy. At one time, Glencoe could hold a festival with 1,500 visitors. Now there's less than 1/5 of that who reside here. In 2000, in 2003, and 2007, the population of Glencoe was 250, 251, and 256, respectively, with a total of 110 housing units. since the city of Glencoe annexed Cemetery Hill Road and all the land towards Interstate 71 to BP Cowboys 127 restaurant a few years ago. Now there are 390 citizens, which is an increase of nearly 50%. So even though the city of Glencoe has dwindled substantially in size in just a few short generations, since Glencoe has the basic infrastructure needed to live, and the cost of living index is 76.6 according to December 2009 numbers, which is lower than the U.S. average cost of living index of 100. Therefore, it's cheaper to live in Glencoe than in most places in America. The city of Glencoe is experiencing an upward swing. The city of Glencoe recently got Gallatin County's new fairgrounds, where local swimsuit beauties compete and local tractors pull and demolition derbies smash into each other. The fairgrounds also has a walking trail / bike trail, which is open to the public and excludes vehicles, and it's at least a mile long. The city of Glencoe also has 2 gas stations, a hotel, 2 restaurants, a post office with a zip code of 41046. Glencoe has a Glencoe General Store, which is something that Warsaw does not have. Glencoe also has an auto garage and towing place. Glencoe also has a public park with a shelter, a couple pieces of playground equipment, a large field, and a basketball court with a crooked basketball goal. Glencoe has their own fire department, run by Chief Bud Webster, who has scored countless of thousands of dollars in grant money, saving local folks and the extra burden of having higher local taxes or being charged for each of the fire runs.